After a week out, Ric Flair was back on Nitro, coming in front of an hometown crowd at Charlotte while bringing with him a bus full of mental patients on the way to the building. WCW, which had a chance to close the gap with Nitro preempted next week on TNT due to the NBA playoffs, saw several matches in the first hour 6 days from the Slamboree pay-per-view while waiting for Flair's arrival. After 2 matches of Ray and Kidman against the Armstrong brothers and Bagwell vs. Miller going a combined 13 minutes, Flair's limousine and the bus eventually arrived 10 minutes from the top of the hour, with Flair going straight to the ring, getting a mixed reaction while continuing to go crazy, saying that the president is back and calling out Savage, Page, Sting and Goldberg to come out. Flair said that Savage is still not reinstated despite Piper bringing him back last week when he was out, before saying that he's gonna be 15-time champion in Charlotte tonight, as Flair hyped the control of the company match against Piper on Sunday with Randy Savage on the way to the ring, with the show going to a commercial break seconds later to set up Savage coming out 2 minutes from 9 p.m. to start the first opposed quarter. Flair fired Savage to start the crossover segment, calling the police to get him out of the building, leading to Savage attacking security before being taken out, with Flair turning to the Slamboree pay-per-view telling the marketing department to change all advertising for the Nash vs. Page title match, as he books himself against Page for the title tonight and will face Nash in the pay-per-view main event. Flair hyped the Sting vs. Goldberg match as the match to find out who is the poster boy of the company between them, bringing them both out with Flair trying to stir things up and turn them against each other, ending up with Goldberg laying out Flair instead and both Sting and Goldberg starting a pull-apart brawl to close the segment, which saw Nitro opening with a 3.7 rating, the peak rating of the night and the closest it came to Raw in the next 2 hours. Four days after the formation of the corporate ministry on the debut episode of SmackDown, Shane and the group opened draw, warning the entire roster of anyone challenging them, giving the microphone to Triple H, cutting a promo on Rock to hype their over-the-edge match, before Undertaker hyped his title match against Austin on the pay-per-view, saying that for the last few months he let Austin go his own way thinking they might be able to coexist, but now it's not gonna happen after he got involved in his business. Shane put himself as the special referee in the Austin-Taker match before Mankind, Shamrock, Big Show and Test came out, with Foley saying that they were all at one point members of the corporation and are now forming a union to go against them, running to the ring to start a brawl, with Raw opening with a 5.4 rating. Both shows stayed steady in the second quarter, with Nitro having a 14-minute Bigelow vs. Hack hardcore match doing a 3.5 rating, while Raw stayed at a 5.4 for the official breakup of DX first, with Billy Gunn vs. X-Pac going 5 minutes, with Gunn going over before also turning on Road Dogg post-match, turning heel to start a singles run. With the WWF now having DX left with 2 members, a similar situation was going on with the NWO and the Wolfpack, with both groups almost being written off television, continuing with an angle of Flair offering Stevie Ray $100,000 to take out Nash tonight, setting up Flair's friend hearing an NWO Hollywood conversation and warning Nash about it. The corporate ministry wore back out 15 minutes from their opening segment, with Shane changing the plans for tonight due to the formation of the Union, booking one of the most loaded cards in Raw history with Shamrock vs Triple H with Chyna as referee, the first ever Taker vs Big Show match, and a Rock vs Austin lumberjack match in the main event, before bringing out the rest of the McMahon family to the ring. Vince told Shane that he's going too far, leading to Shane challenging him to a match tonight, with Shane confronting Linda and revealing that he was behind Taker kidnapping Stephanie, setting up Vince going after Shane and agreeing to the match, with this segment jumping big with over 1.4 million viewers to a first-hour high 6.7 rating. After dropping to a first-hour low 3 rating, Nitro had its biggest viewership gain of the night with a series of backstage skits, first with Ric Flair calling David to his office to solve their issues, telling him that he wants him to wrestle on the show tonight before double-crossing him, picking Meng as his opponent, while minutes later Roddy Piper arrived to the building immediately searching for Flair before finding him in the locker room to start a brawl 6 days from their control of the company match, with the quarter to close out the first hour between 9:45 to 10 p.m. jumping over 700,000 viewers to a 3.6 rating, the highest rated segment of the night after the opening quarter. Raw closed out the first hour with 2 matches of Patterson and Brisco taking out the Posse, and Test going over 3 members of the corporate ministry in a 4 corners match. With the WrestleMania 15 pay-per-view increasing in the latest press release from the WWF posting about the show doing over 875,000 buys, the most pay-per-view buys for a wrestling event by over a 100,000 buys distance. Reports from cable companies came out on wrestling pay-per-view during the first quarter of 1999, drawing over 40% of the total pay-per-view business, generating a record $84 million for the 8 shows during the period. Following the Piper-Flair angle, Nitro opened its third hour with Flair asking Scott Steiner to help him take out Nash, with Steiner searching for him in the locker room to instead find Bagwell 6 days before their Slamboree match, followed by Meng vs David Flair in a squash going 3 minutes, with Nitro's third hour overall going against a record audience on Raw dropped to one of its lowest rated hours in the last 2 years, doing a 2.8. The Vince vs Shane match opened Raw's second hour, bumping the show back to a 6.6 rating, starting with Shane in control after Vince was attacked by Taker and Hunter a few minutes earlier, setting up a Vince comeback with him going over with a stunner to a huge reaction, as Raw's 10 to 11 p.m. hour in general didn't drop again below a 6.6 rating, making it the highest rated opposed hour in history with a 6.9. Page was out next on Nitro, hyping the main event against Flair later tonight, saying that the difference in the match would be that he is in his prime and Flair is not, with the crowd in Charlotte expected to be heavily pro-Flair in the heel versus heel match. Going against it, Raw had the continuation of the Union vs Corporate Ministry series of matches, first with the second half of Mankind against the Acolytes going 6 minutes in a hardcore handicap match, and Triple H vs Shamrock going 7. Maintaining a 6.7 to 2.9 rating gap between the shows. The 7th quarter saw the gap reaching new levels as WCW took 2 commercial breaks and only featured a 2-minute Booker vs Kurt Hennig match during the quarter, while Raw had the finish of Shamrock vs Hunter in the hyped first time ever Taker vs Big Show match, leading to Raw gaining over 800,000 viewers to more than triple Nitro's audience with a 7.3 to 2.4 rating gap, as after holding the record since October '98, Raw's Taker vs. Show match broke the record 7.2 rating set by the Goldberg vs. Page Havoc replay match to draw the highest rated opposed quarter in history with a 7.3, along with another record of 4.9 rating points separating the shows between 10:30 to 45, ending up with Taker smashing a bat on Show's head for the finish. Nitro rebounded over 700,000 viewers from the show low to a 3 rating in the final quarter for the first half of Page vs. Flair, but the gap between the shows remained at near record levels, with Raw having a promoted Sable vs. Debra match that ended up with Sable sending out Nicole instead, and the entrances of the Austin Rock Lumberjack match. The past week saw another head-to-head battle between the companies on Thursday, with the debut episode of SmackDown going head-to-head with Thunder, with the WWF loading up the show with all the top names and hyped segments and matches, leading to the show drawing a 4 rating and over 5.5 million viewers on the company's return to network television, well above what UPN usually averages in that time slot, which almost guaranteed SmackDown becoming a permanent weekly show in the next few months. Going against it, WCW fell to an all-time record low 2.6 rating, the lowest rated Thunder episode on its regular Thursday time slot in history. Flair and Page went 13 minutes in the main event, crossing over a 7-minute overrun including 2 minutes unopposed, ending with Randy Savage again interfering to bail Page out for the finish, with the show mainly due to going off the air at 11:07 p.m. 2 minutes after Raw maintained a 3 rating. The Rock vs. Austin Lumberjack match immediately turned into a brawl, with both taking out every member of the corporate ministry, setting up the focus on the top 2 programs with a 4-way brawl of Austin vs. Taker and Rock vs. Hunter, closing the show with both Rock and Austin thrown off the stage through tables, with the overrun jumping over 900,000 viewers to a peak 7.4 rating, as Raw with a loaded show jumped back into a near-record 6.4 rating overall, with every record in history expected to be shattered next Monday, with Raw going unopposed with massive momentum.